Good to see everybody this morning, as I've already said. But this morning we're going to have a lesson that may be slightly different. It's very basic, actually. But it's one that I'm going to ask you to be honest with yourself and really think through this, okay? And yet it's a very basic lesson. I'm going to start with a question. What is at the very center of your life? Now, before you answer that, and don't answer it out loud, this is for you. But before you answer that, I want you to really think about your life. Think about your day-to-day activities. Think about the way you spend your life. Because people center their lives around a lot of different things, don't they? I mean, people center their lives around their jobs, their whole career, making money, sports, hobbies, even family, spouse, children, and even self. People put they center their lives around a lot of these things. The only problem is none of these things are strong enough to sustain us at the very core of who we are. At the center of our lives. None of these things are strong enough. That's why some people feel lost when life changes occurs. You know? Like for example, if the kids grow up and move out. Now, some may have mixed feelings about that. But sometimes when kids move out, people just feel kind of lost. It's like, now what? You know? Or maybe if you lose someone that you love and you feel lost. Or maybe you lose a job and you feel lost. You know? Maybe you retire and you don't know what to do with yourself. You just kind of feel lost. Sometimes you just feel lost, or maybe you feel like your world is sort of spinning out of control. Well, the problem is that we need something at the center of our lives strong enough to hold us down. Would you agree with that? We need something strong enough to give our life meaning and focus during some of these life changes. You know, strong enough to anchor us when we face the next crisis that comes along. You know? Now, let me ask you something. Who is strong enough to do that? Jesus. Not me, not you, but Jesus. See, as Christians, Jesus should be at the center of our lives. Not just someone that we think about once in a while. He should be at the center of our lives. It's quite a dramatic change from the world, isn't it? You know? I mean, most people in the world, they're maybe focused on their career, or focused on their family, or focused on whatever their sport or their hobby is, or whatever, you know? When we become a follower of Christ, He should be at the center of everything we do, the center of everything that we are. I want you to notice a passage with me in 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Verses 14 and 15. Listen to this. For the love of Christ compels us, because we judge thus, that if one died for all, then all died. Now, that simply means that we die to our old life. And He died for all, that those who live should live no longer for themselves, but for Him who died for them and rose again. Now, look at the passage. When we become Christians, who do we live for? Christ, right? Not ourselves. That's what he said. Not ourselves, but for Christ. And so we really need to think about this. I want you to focus for just a few minutes. And this, you know, this lesson meant a lot to me as I put it together, because sometimes we all get off focus a little bit, don't we? We kind of get off center. But I want you to focus. What is the focus of your life? Now, before you answer that, I want you to really think about it. Because whatever you focus on the most, that's what's at the center of your life. Now, really think about your life. What do you focus on the most in your life? I'm not talking about today. Today's the Lord's Day and we're together and we're in church and we're supposed to have churchy answers, right? I'm talking about a realistic answer. What do you focus on the most in your life? I'm going to try to get you to understand this maybe in a little different way using this wheel, okay? Now, the wheel has been around for a really long time. In fact, the wheel, they say, was invented around 3500 BC, you know? So I want you to look at that old wheel. That's probably not one of the original ones, but it's pretty old, right? It's just old, crude. And we look at that, and then we look at something like this. And look how smooth that is. Isn't that smooth? So balanced. I mean, this one looks different from that one, right? But you can tell they really haven't changed that much. I mean, the basics of the wheel is the same. What does it do? It goes around and around and around. That's its job. And whether it was way back then or whether it's today, that's still its job, right? Now, at first, the wheel that they invented was used to grind grain into wheat or into flour or something like that. But it did the same thing, didn't it? It went around and around. It had the same function. It was just used for different aspects. You know, some 200 or 300 years later, somebody got the idea to put it on a chariot. Now this thing will actually move. Hey, put a couple of horses in front of it and this thing will really move now, right? The wheel is very useful, and since then, it's been used in all kinds of different vehicles and types of transportation and things like that. But what I want you to notice about this wheel is the parts have not changed. I want you to look. I want you to think about this. The parts haven't changed. The wheels that we had back then or in any time, or even this one, the parts haven't changed. Why? Because it works. And it works really well, doesn't it? It works extremely well. Nothing else is needed. It works very well. I want you to notice, look at this. You have a rim on the outside. You have spokes in the middle. And then you have spokes and then a hub in the middle. And the spokes connect the hub to the rim. You see that? It's very simple, right? I mean, we all kind of know that. We know that's how a wheel works. It hasn't changed. This wheel, that's only a few years old, is the same thing. A rim, spokes, a center, a hub, right? It hasn't changed. Now, I want us to really think about this. This is the basic wheel, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Now, look at this one again. Now, look at how smooth and balanced that is. See how smooth that wheel is? See how balanced it is? Wouldn't it be nice if our lives were that balanced and that smooth? Wouldn't it be? I want you to think about something. Imagine that the hub of that wheel were not in the center. What if it wasn't in the center? What if it was like this wheel? What if the hub wasn't in the center? Would you want to ride that? I mean, it'd be kind of rough, wouldn't it? I mean, I want you to think about it. Can you imagine riding this? I mean, really? Can you imagine riding that? Can you imagine if that was your life and you're riding like that? That's a bumpy ride, isn't it? I mean, that's very, very uncomfortable. But that's what happens if the hub is not in the center. That's what happens if the hub's not in the center. You know? Or what if you're missing a few spokes? What happens if you're missing spokes off of your wheel? It begins to get weak. And it can start to wobble and carry on. I mean, how would you like it if your life looked like this? You know, it's just kind of wobbly, not very firm. It's kind of weak. You don't know what's going on. You know, you're trying to ride along, and it's just so wobbly, and you're not sure. You work and work and work, and you don't really even get anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You just don't get anywhere. Well, you think that's bad? Imagine this one. There's no spokes. You got a rim, and there's no spokes connecting to the center, to the hub, right? The hub's missing completely because there's nothing connecting it. That's not a good thing. That wheel is totally dead. It's lifeless. Will that wheel work? No. There's no way for that wheel to work. Now, after having said all that, let's put this into terms that we can relate to. Let's look at this wheel. The rim is your life, okay? The hub is what? What's in the middle? Jesus. How are we going to keep Jesus in the center of our wheel, of our life? We use spokes. And the spokes are the things that connect us with Jesus. Do you see that? The spokes are the things that connect us with Jesus. It could be things like the Bible or worship service. It could be fellowship. It could be Bible classes, Bible study. It could be some sort of ministry. Maybe prayer, service of some sort, good works, love. See, these are the things that connect us on the rim. These are the things that connect our life with Jesus. Do you see that? If we're not connected, we got a problem. If He's not in the center, you remember what that looked like, right? Now, I really want you to look at this. If Jesus is not in the center of our lives, then, hey, we're going to have this problem, right? If Jesus is not in the center, this is what our life's going to look like. You think about our life being the rim and the good things, the spokes that connect us. If He's not in the center of our lives, that's what our life's going to look like. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't like that. It's a bumpy ride. You don't know where you're going to stumble. If you hit a little something, it might just fall over and just stop. You know what I'm saying? Get you off track. What if some of those important spokes, like the Bible and worship and love, what if some of those are missing? Then you may have a problem like this. Would you really want to ride on that? That's not going to be a very smooth ride, is it? You know? I wouldn't want to ride on that. That's a very uncomfortable ride. You'd be putting a lot of effort. You know, you're really trying to go, and you're doing all this business right here, you know, and you just fall over. Reminds me of the time I was riding my bike up in Washington, D.C., and I was riding along right in front of the White House. I was telling somebody about this the other day. I was right in front of the White House, riding my bike, and my tire, it was a good tire. In fact, it was probably that one. And it fell off the edge into a little crevice off of the main road. And there I went, twisted my ankle, the chain came off, and I'm sitting there in front of the White House with people sitting around, and here I am laying on the ground, ankle swelling up. I want to be on a smooth surface with a smooth bike, smooth wheels. I don't want all this business. You know what I'm saying? I want my life to run smoothly. I really do. That's what we need to do. Because all these bumps in the road and everything, we're going to face bumps in the road. I want to face them with a good quality life, will, you know? I want Jesus in the center, anchoring me. I want to have enough spokes connected from my life to Jesus that He's in the center and I'm firm and strong and I have stability. You know? If you're missing some of the spokes that connect with Christ, your life's going to look not good. It's going to be all wobbly. It's not going to work good. You're not going to have any strength. You're not going to have any stability. So having said all that, and you say, oh, that's really cute. That's neat. But how do I know that Jesus even wants to be in the center of my life? I mean, I can say, I need Jesus at the center of my life. I need Him to be my hub. How do I know that's where He wants to be? Well, let's just listen. Let's listen to what He says, because if we want Jesus right in the middle, we need to go to His Word. Would you agree? Listen to what He said in Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 through 4. If then you are raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things of the earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with Him in glory. Now I want you to look at those verses up there. According to these verses, what should be our focus? Huh? The things above. What are the things above?
Where Christ is.
Where Christ is. Our focus is on the things above, not on this junk down here. You know? The focus should be on Jesus. That should be our main focus. Not our focus is on everything in life except Him until we get in trouble, or until we go to church, or until it's time to pray. Our focus needs to be on Him. That's what this is saying. I want you to notice what it says in verse 4, toward the end. When Christ, who is our life, appears. He's not just the center of our lives. Man, He is our lives. He is our life. That is an amazing passage right there, that Jesus is our life. If that's not enough, you'll recognize this one in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. Jesus says, but seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Why is it that we in this world do it the other way around? We seem to seek all these other things, all these pleasures, all these things in our lives. We seem to seek those things and then hope that Jesus will be okay. He says, no, seek the kingdom of God first. He'll take care of you. He'll provide for you. All these other things will be added to you. Does that sound like Jesus wants to be in the center of our lives? The center, the hub of our lives? You were designed for the purpose of knowing Jesus Christ and making Him the center of your life. I'm not telling you anything you didn't already know. I told you this is a very basic lesson. But for me, I need to be reminded sometimes, because sometimes my focus can get off. Sometimes my focus can get on, it used to be career. I don't have a career anymore. It could be on family. It could be on fun. It could be on hobbies. It could be on whatever. Sometimes we have to get our priorities right and get Him back in the center, don't we? So, how do we get Him there? How do we make Jesus the center of our lives? I mean, it's easy just to say, yeah, Jesus needs to be in the hub. He needs to be in the center. I get that. I know that. How do I do that? Let's be practical for just a minute, okay? First of all, listen to me. some people may not like this, but you have to voluntarily give Him control of your life. Somebody says, wait, what? What? Give Him control of what? Give Him control of what? Your life. Give Him control. You voluntarily do this. For Jesus to be at the center of our life, it means that He is in control. You no longer run your own life, but you surrender to Jesus and His will for your life, and you follow His lead. You do what He wants over what you want. That's tough. That's a little bit tough. I mean, we can in theory think about that and say, oh yeah, okay, I got that. Yep. When we get into life and we get out in the streets and we're doing our thing, sometimes we forget to consider Jesus, don't we? We only consider what we want to do because this is me. I'm running this show, right? That's just kind of the way we do, you know? And so, how do I do that? How do I just let go? How do I just let it go and give Jesus control? How do I get Him in the center? First of all, you need to have a desire for Him to be there. That's very basic, right? But if you don't have a desire for Him to be there, then guess what? He's not going to be there. You are. But first of all, we have to have a desire for Him to be there. And I get it. We want to be in control. I mean, let's face reality. Aren't we all a little bit of a control freak? You know? We not only want to control our lives, we want to control everybody else's. Isn't that true? You know? It's hard to just let go. I'm a grown man, you're a grown woman, or whatever. This is my life. I'm going to live it my way. Not if you want Jesus in the center and you want life and you want stability and you want a smooth road. Listen to this. I want you to listen to what Jesus or what the Lord said to people who refused to let Him have control of their lives. In Jeremiah 29, verse 11 through 13, He said, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future, a hope. Then you will call on me and go and pray to me, and I will listen to you, and you will seek me. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all of your heart." Now, I really want you to think about what that said. What does the Lord want for His people here? What does He want? Peace, right? He said, my thoughts for you they're thoughts of peace, not evil. To give you what? A future. To give you hope. The Lord says, I have so many plans for you. Not evil plans, but good plans. All you have to do is just call on me. Just call on me. It's not hard. That means letting go of our own desires and things and calling on Him. He said, all you got to do is call on me. He tells them that they are that they'll find Him when they seek Him with what? With all of their heart. We're called to make the same decision, aren't we? Are you ready to seek Him with all your heart? I hope that we are. But if you're like me, sometimes you get off focus just a little bit, don't you? I mean, I think we all do to a degree. We kind of get off focus. Are you ready to follow Him or to seek Him with all of your heart? Because the blessings of making Jesus the center of your life far outweigh the benefits of a self-directed life. Do you believe that? The benefits of allowing Jesus to control our lives and to be the center of our lives and for us to be connected through the spokes that we talked about far outweighs the benefits of a self-directed life. I think He can do a better job than I can do. Second thing is we need to realize that that's where He belongs. He doesn't belong here, does He? He doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong outside of our life. He belongs right here, right in the center. We need to recognize that. We need to realize that that's where He belongs. Why do you think, let me just ask you, why do you think Jesus belongs at the center? He created us. I mean, that's a pretty big thing, isn't it? He made us. Jesus controls everything. The world, the universe, the fact that the sun came up this morning. He controls the universe. He controls the fact that we have the right air to breathe. Everything that sustains life, He controls everything. And He's faithful to you. That is such an amazing thing that Jesus, God on earth, that is now ascended to heaven, He created all of us. There's not one of us that He didn't create, right? He created the universe. He was there in the beginning, creating everything. And everything, John 1 tells us that everything was created through Him, by Him, and for Him, pretty much. And yet He is faithful to you. We always talk about we need to be faithful to God. He's faithful to us. Listen to this passage. I love it. 2 Thessalonians 3:3. But the Lord is faithful. Faithful to me? Faithful to His promises to me. The Lord is faithful, who will establish you and guard you from the evil one. Man, I want Him at the center of my life, don't you? He is faithful to me. I'm sorry. We always talk about this person being a faithful Christian, or I'm trying to be a faithful Christian. We need to be faithful to God. We need to pray faithfully. We need to. How many times do we think about the fact that the Lord is faithful to us? That amazes me. Who am I? Well, I'm nothing without Jesus in the center of my life. And yet He died for all of us, so that He can be in the center of our life. Let me tell you something. Jesus controls the universe. He created you. He created me. It seems that He could probably do a better job of running your life than you can. So let Him. Let Him. That's not easy. Like I said, this is very basic. But the reality is we don't always let Him because we interfere. We interfere in our own lives because we want to be in control. I don't know how to control my life like He does. It would be like me taking a model airplane or something out of a box and trying to put it together without the instructions. You know? The one that made it knows how it works. Maybe I need to pay attention to those instructions. Man, we need Jesus to control our lives. I know I do. I do. The third thing is that we need to look at our current priorities. I know this is hard, the reality of it, but we need to look at our current priorities and make changes where needed. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you heard a sermon or a class from me or anybody else in your life that kind of convicted you and you thought, man, I need to do that. And you didn't do it? Raise your hand. All of us. Man, that was so awesomely true what that person just taught me. That man, he hit nail on head, right? I've got to do that. We go to lunch. We never think about it again. Look at your current priorities and make changes where needed. I've done a lot of that in my life. I remember one time, I won't go into details, that Ron and I heard a lesson one time from a preacher that is very close to me. We looked at each other on the way home and we were thinking, wow. We went home and started implementing change. It's what we have to do. You know? I want you to think, I want you to reflect on your life for just a moment. How much time and energy are you investing in your spiritual growth? This is kind of a reality check, for me at least. Okay? How much time and energy am I or you investing in our spiritual growth? Which activities do you devote yourself to every day? Sure, we go to work. We're supposed to work and provide a living, and God tells us to work. You know, work is a blessing. It is a gift from God. Okay, so I'm not saying we just need to leave everything and just sit with our Bible in our hand, 24 hours a day. But I want you to think about it. We go to work. We spend time with our family. That's important. We maybe watch a little TV or something. And when you think from your day, from the morning till the evening, what about prayer? How much of your time was spent doing that? What about reading the Bible? What about fellowship with other Christians? What about worship? You can worship God without being here together every day. That's when you just see the beauty of what He's done. What about the acts of service that we've done? I wasn't going to mention this, but I am. A long time ago, I was teaching a class, and we were talking about everyday Christian living. And I gave out a chart, and it was almost like a diary that I handed to everybody. I said, okay, now go and fill this out for the week. And each day you put how many hours you spent at work, how many hours you spent at school, how many hours you spent in front of the television set, how many hours you spent eating or preparing food, there was just categories. How many hours did you spend in things to promote spirituality in your life? That could have been Bible reading, prayer, devotion of any, whatever. And man, you talk about a reality check. When you start writing that down, you realize, oh man, I haven't done anything for the Lord today. I've been too busy. It was eye-opening. It was eye-opening to me for my life. Where do we currently place God on our list of priorities? Because if Jesus Christ is not at the top of your priorities right now, it may be that you're missing some of the spokes that connect you to Christ. And you saw what happens when spokes are missing. Your life just sort of does this business, right? Because you become weak. You become unstable. He gives us strength. He gives us stability. If He's not on top of our priority, if He's not in the center, we may be missing some spokes. I'm going to ask you, because I've asked myself this. Do you need to make changes in your life that will help put Jesus back in the center? I mean, no matter what's in your past, you can always begin today putting Jesus in the center. Can't you? You know what I love about Jesus? It's just amazing. I love God. I just do. But what is amazing is that it does not matter what I've done in the past. It doesn't matter what I did last week. It doesn't matter what I did yesterday. It doesn't matter what I did 2 hours ago. I can always start fresh. I can always say, you've heard the statement, what is it? Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Kind of cute, kind of real. It doesn't matter what we've done because he is, what the Thessalonian letter say, he is faithful. He is faithful to forgive. He's promised forgiveness. He's faithful to forgive everything I've done. And I can take that stuff and I can wad it up and I can throw it away and never think about it again because I am moving forward. I'm moving forward and I'm going to have Jesus right here. And this is what it's going to do for me. Because my life's not always like this. This is what it's going to do for me. It's going to give me balance. It's going to give me confidence. It's going to give me strength. It's not always going to be a smooth ride, though. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not always going to be a smooth ride. But if he's in the center, we'll get where we're going. Look, if you're a Christian, if you've been a Christian, if you're a Christian now, I'm just going to say it out. Jesus got to be in the center of your life. He has to be. That's where he belongs. As a creator and sustainer, that's where he belongs. Being a Christian is not something that we do. What is it? It's who we are. It's not something we do on Sundays. It's not something we do 2 or 3 times a day as we just stop and pray for a meal. Being a Christian is who we are. With the Lord as our hub, we'll have something at the center of our lives that's strong enough to give our life true meaning. And we miss that sometimes, don't we? Sometimes we just miss that. Give us something strong enough to anchor us during the changes of life. It's strong enough to give us strength and stability whenever we face the hardships in life. Like I said, it's not always going to be a smooth road, but if he's in the center, we'll make it through that road. We always will. If our will is weak, if our life is weak, we'll just fall over right in front of the White House and sprain our ankle, and we won't recover hardly. He's got to be in the center. He gives us that strength. Today is the day to put your past behind you. Start over if we need to. Listen. Even if it's a little tweak that needs to be done. I'm not saying that my life is a total shambles and I don't follow Jesus, because I do. But sometimes I just need to refocus and put him back in the middle. Sometimes I get this arrogant idea that I was supposed to be in charge. It may just be a little change that we need to make. It may be a whole lot of changes that we need to make. But whatever it is, and whatever that need is for you or for me, today's the day to do it and put the past behind us and move forward. And be ready to receive the blessings that he's prepared for us. If you're not a Christian this morning, man, we need to get started. If he's not in the center of your life, he may not even be in your life at all. He needs to be not only in your life, he needs to be the center. He needs to be the focus. He needs to be our everyday focus. If you need to come to the Lord, he told us what to do. He said, you believe in him, you repent of your sins. That is to say, I'm done. We're going to throw that stuff out. Jesus is going to forgive me. He promised he would. And I'm going to be baptized to wash away those sins. And everything that I've ever done in my life will be completely gone. Every bad thing I ever did. That's such an amazing thing about forgiveness. Everything I ever did is gone. We rise up anew with Christ in the center of our lives. If you need to come forward this morning and receive that gift, come on while we stand and sing.